Good morning, good afternoon. I believe today is Wednesday. We're getting closer to Christmas break, so let's keep pushing through. We're still right in the middle of Chapter 6. Had a great lesson yesterday on algebraic expressions. We're going to continue those, writing some expressions out. And again, we're going to be using different variables. Remember, all variables are lowercase. Let's first off get circled up as we always do if you're watching the video. And that would be numbers 1 to 12. Okay. And we'll warm up. If you were in class today, you'd be doing a lot of these warming up, right? So we need to make sure that we have good practice writing expressions because it's abstract. It's hard to grasp. Then we're going to go 16 through 23. Okay, getting quality reps here. Okay. All right, and that will be it. So let's get back to it here, trying to get situated here a little bit and go from there, right? Okay. All right. So when we talk about writing an expression, okay, we're going to write and operate. Now, there's no equal sign because an equal sign would be an equation. But when we talk about writing algebraic expressions, we're talking about writing an operation with a number, an operational sign, and a variable. We got to define what the variable is, and we'll talk about that. But that's not as important to me as writing it, to be honest with you. Okay, so I'm going to start on page 464, and we're going to crank it up from there. All right, define the variable, write each phrase as an algebraic expression. All right, 4 times more money than Elliot saved. 4 times more. 4 times more. So here's my number, here's my operational sign, and Elliot's going to be what I'm going to represent, okay? More money, okay? So Elliot's the person, but what I'm going to represent is the money, excuse me. All right, so it's going to be 4 times the money. Or a better way to write that is 4m. Last lesson, I talked to you about this number is called the coefficient when it's written with multiplication. We can show it with a dot. We can show it just writing like that. Or we certainly could just do it like this. All of those are acceptable. What we don't want to use is an x for multiplication because we'll think it's another variable because x is a very common variable. Okay? Half as many pages as George read. Half. How can we find half? Well, there's a couple different ways we can find half, okay? And let's talk about probably the most common one, right? Pages that he read. I'm going to define the variable as pages, right? And I'm going to call it P. So if I take P, pages, and I divide it by what? 2. When I divide a number by 2, I get half. Okay. I also could write it this way, pages divided by 2, or we could go with multiplication. You know, if you multiply a number by a half, you're going to get the same thing as if you were to divide by 2. Okay. So either one of these 3 is fine with me. Okay. All right. So again, our first expression was all multiplication. We could have used multiplication and division. However you see it is fine. The width of a box that is 4 inches less than the length, 4 inches less. So if we have a box, right? All right. The width, here's the length, right? The width is minus 4 than the length. Think of it that way. So when I think about this, all right, I got to think about the length and the 4. So it's going to be the length minus 4. The width is 4 inches less than the length. Notice my L. I use a cursive L because I don't want to use this looks like a 1, right? Just a regular slash. So let's use a cursive. Little things help us here, all right, define it as we transition into more pre-algebra concepts here. But the width is 4 inches less than the length. Only one way to do that, okay? Number 4. The cost of 5 CDs and 12 DVDs. Okay. The cost of 5 CDs and a $12 DVD. I read that wrong. Okay. Well, first off, we're going to have a multiple set. So I know at the end, I have to add $12 because I'm buying one of these. But here's the problem. I'm buying 5 CDs, okay? So what I'm going to do is take 5 and I'm going to multiply it by C, right? 5C plus 12. I also could have written that this way. That's fine as well, but the best way is to write it with a coefficient. 5 times the cost of the CDs plus 12. 5 times the cost of one CD, I should say, right? Okay. So pretty good start. These take some time. You have to really talk yourself through it, and they can get more and more difficult with multiple steps. Shoko bought a box of popcorn for $3.50 and 3 medium drinks. To find the variable, write an expression to represent the total amount they spent. Then find the total amount if one drink costs $1.50. Very good. Well, the variable here is going to be drinks, right? D for drinks. That's what I'm going to use, okay? So when I think about this, how many drinks did we buy? We bought 3. So let's start off with multiplying 3 times D. I don't know what the cost is yet. At the end, we'll plug it in. So 3 drinks, all right, 3 times D, and they bought 1 box of popcorn for $3.50, okay? So we're going to add that to the end of it. So if we were to substitute this, all right, 3 times $1.50 plus $3.50, because they gave me this value of 1 drink. So 3 times this plus this. This might be an opportunity to use the calculator. It's getting into some decimals. That's fine, is $8. Okay? So again, taking our time, reading the question, and really you should read it 3 times, underlining and thinking it through and talking to yourself. Let's flip to the next page here, into the homework here, and do a few more of these problems because, all right, I know some of you are still a little confused on this, and that's okay. Okay, so let's do the first 5 together here, okay? Let me get situated here. All right, so number 1. 6 feet less than the width. We kind of had one there before. We got to define the variable. The W is my variable for width, right? So 6 feet less than the width is W minus 6. Okay. 6 hours more per week than Theodore studies. 6 hours more. Well, 6 hours more per week. Hours is my variable. That's what I'm going to define it as H. So Theodore studies 6 more, so it's H plus 6. 6 hours more than Theodore studies. Theodore studies H hours. I want 6 hours more. Number 3, 6 years less than Tracy's age. Well, T is going to be, and look at my T. I'm starting to put a little swoosh on it there now. T is my variable for Tracy's age. 6 years less, well, it's T minus 6, right? Here's her age, minus 6. Okay, number 4. 2 less than 1/3 of the points that the Panthers scored. 2 less than 1/3 of the points that the Panthers scored. Well, the points is going to be my variable. 2 less than 1/3 of the points than the Panthers scored. Okay, so how do we find 1/3 of a number? That's one problem. And we have 2 less. Well, 2 less, I know, is going to be at the end. 2 less than 1/3 of the points. How do I find 1/3 of a points? Well, remember the problem we did as a half? We could take 1/3 times P minus 2, right? Or we could do it another way, couldn't we? Couldn't we take the points and divide it by 3 and subtract 2? Either way is going to get you the value of the points that the Panthers scored, right? So either one is fine, either one. But the subtraction is the common link there. Number 5 is what we're going to take a look at here. The United States House of Representatives has 35 more members then 4 times the number of members in the Senate. Okay, so you have the House, you have the Senate, okay, and the president. You're talking about the branches of government here. You're talking about the judicial, the executive. Okay, so you're talking about these types of things here. Okay, define a variable and write an expression to represent the number of members in the House of Representatives. Then find the number of members in the House of Representatives if there's 100 members. Wow, there's a lot of stuff here. Let's reread this. The United States has 35 more. So let's start right there. Has 35 more. That's plus 35. Then 4 times the number of members in the Senate. All right, well, 4 times, and S is going to be for Senate, so it's 4S. 4 times the number of people in the Senate plus 35 gives me the number in the House. Now, what we're going to do is substitute the S for 100. So 4 times 100 plus 35. When we do this operation, this solution is going to be the number of members in the House of Representatives. So it is. So 4 times 100 is 400 plus 35 is 435 members. Okay, and that's the call there. So you need to read it, you need to talk to yourself, and again, you need to bounce it off somebody. That's fine. Mom, dad, brother, sister, grandma, grandpap, whoever it is. Okay? All right, guys, keep working. Wish you the best.